This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, and for the third week, we're coming to you from the Renaissance Shoppe and presented by the Lake Sunapee Region VNA and Hospice, where they provide a wide array of services throughout their team of nurses, nursing assistants, physical, occupational, speech, and music therapists, medical social workers, spiritual counsels, homemakers, personal care service providers, companions, support staff, and volunteers. We are here at the Renaissance Shoppe with Joanne Hughes, one of the founders of this wonderful place, to hear what's new. Pete Fenton from Sunapee Cruises will give us an update on their new boat. Donna Mahair will give us a preview of this year's Newport Dancing with the Stars. And we'll close with Richard Haynes, who has an art show hanging at the gallery at Colby-Sawyer College and has visited the Kearsarge Middle School. Don't go away because you won't want to miss this week's edition of Yankee Chronicle. We'll be right back.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. When you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
This program is supported by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from the Renaissance Shoppe here in New London. And not to play favorites, but one of my favorite people to interview, Joanne Hughes, who's one of the founders here. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, how are you?
It's always fun to interview you, and I think I've been interviewing you for many years now, but we always seem to have something to talk about.
Right. Well, yeah, there's always something new.
Of course. Talk about first the mission of the Renaissance Shoppe. How did it get started? I know you're one of the founders, and that's important to mention.
Yes, we're a 501c3. So we get donations of all sorts. Mostly we empty out houses, and people, we do the work for their tax they can get a total tax credit.
Oh, that's important.
We have a lot of people that have been here for years, and they accumulate things and have a full house, and then they're downsizing.
Right.
And so it was a perfect thing to do here because we're doing them a service, actually. It's so funny. They're giving us thousands of dollars worth of furniture and items, and they're saying, thank you, thank you.
I know, and you're saying no thank you. Because it's important to mention all the money that you receive is not pocketed or put into...
It goes directly to the services of the VNA, which is we all will use at some time or another.
Absolutely.
And it's not just for older people, it's for any age.
I think that's important to mention.
Now, Laura is the manager now, and I think she started 2 years ago. But we have done it with all volunteers.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, we have movers now.
Oh, that's exciting.
We're working with 2 moving companies, Millennial, which is here in New London,
Yep.
and On the Map Movers, and they're in Claremont.
And that's great, because some of these pieces, like this piece behind us, is not easy to move.
No. We get really big pieces. At this point, our net was $2.6 million. So we're getting close to that $3 million mark. I think you asked me last time.
I always ask you, because I always think it's so fascinating.
Well, it is, but it's a good cause. And again, I think it's really funny when people are giving us so much and we're taking everything away and we're selling it, and then people come in and get great buys.
Great buys.
Treasures.
I mean, this table, for example, I was just looking at this table. It comes with 6 chairs, which is incredible.
Well, we get a lot of beautiful dining room furniture.
Do.
And look at this bookcase here.
I know.
I mean, just absolutely.
A piano, incredible. So talk about the process in which if someone's saying, oh, this is something that I need to do, we're selling our house, we're downsizing, or I have something that I'm looking to get rid of. Talk about how that works.
Well, they can stop by and talk. Laura is the manager now. And, we schedule a time. And they can actually, if they have something in their, they can text over photos.
A picture, sure.
Photos. And sometimes people will bring things in, and we always request that maybe Fridays and Saturdays are best.
Okay.
Because we have a little more, more people here on the weekend. But then many times you have to go out, if it's a whole house, you really have to go out and look at it, especially with upholstered furniture.
Sure.
Because it has to really be in good condition.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And this area, people have been so generous. We really get beautiful, beautiful things.
Really beautiful things.
Yeah.
And I know that you're so volunteer-based and you love your volunteers, but you said you have a need for men. Tell us why.
Well, yes, we do, because, we get heavy furniture. Look at that.
I know.
And this. But we do have, actually, we have 3 male volunteers right now. We have Joe, Henry, and Charlie.
Amazing.
And they came in, wandered in, and said, do you have any extra time?
Yeah.
we used to grab guys in the parking lot.
And you'd say, good, move that.
I mentioned on the radio last week, we got a lot of tools. And power tools, all sorts of things.
Is that out in the barn?
Well, a lot of it's sold, but
I bet.
Yeah.
Joanne, before I let you go, what are the hours of the Renaissance Shoppe?
10 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday.
And come on in and browse 2 sections, which is important to mention, this room and also the barn.
Right.
Yep, it's
right,
important.
and it's always, and they had a great sale last week, and a lot of the stuff that was here last week is gone.
Yeah.
We had some beautiful sections.
You have a quick turnaround.
We do, well, because we don't have a lot of room.
Right.
We thank God we have the barn, and there's always stuff out there.
Yep.
But it's always coming and going every week. And I should mention, you may not be looking for anything in particular, but you never know what you'll find.
That's what I did today. I just roamed around and said, I don't need anything, but maybe something will speak to me.
Or find a good book.
Or find a good book.
They might be ordering something on Amazon for $25, and they come here and find it for a couple dollars.
I know, that's a deal.
Yeah.
Well, Joanne, I always love talking to you. Thank you for the mission of what you do, not only for the Renaissance Shoppe, but to the VNA.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
When we return, one of the Fenton gangs will join us to give an update of their new boat and let us know when it will be sailing the waters of our Lake Sunapee. But first, these words from the good folks that make our show possible.
Ticks suck blood, but even a tiny tick can make you super sick. When you're outdoors, wear protective clothing and an EPA-registered insect repellent. And remember to check for ticks everywhere. Go to ticksuck.org for more information. Ticksuck.org.
This program is supported by HR Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel. For nearly a year, a replacement for the MV Kearsarge dinner boat has been making its way to Lake Sunapee. It's now at water's edge. Let's hear more about what's happening and when it might sail.
So we found the boat out in Missouri, and it was owned by a family business as well, which made us feel really good as well, because we're obviously an old family business. But after we spoke to the owners of it, we did a lot of research into the transportation, because obviously that's a huge component. It was out in Missouri, so it needed to get here somehow. So we researched going over to the Mississippi River and going down the river and along the coast and sailing up to Portsmouth and then trucking her over. We also looked at going up and through the Finger Lakes into New York and then transporting over that way. But ultimately the most cost-effective and quickest, we thought, would be to truck it across the U.S. So we hired a wonderful company that specializes in moving big boats. This is what they do, this is their job. And because there's a lot involved with moving a big boat across country, you have to work through construction sites, you have to work through road closures, you have to make sure you don't get into the dreaded mud season like we have up here. And the boat movers that we hired were great. They had a really good plan in place. They worked through getting all the permits, and the plan was for it to go real smoothly and to get here in January a year ago. Unfortunately, that's not quite the way it worked out. We did hit a couple bumps along the way, and everything was further confused because of COVID. Not every office was open as frequently as you needed to, or crews were working as much as you wanted them to. But we ran into our big snag when the boat was in probably the most complicated travel section between West Virginia and Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, back and forth between the states. It had to take a funky route because the boat's 20 feet wide and it was so long on the trailer you could only take certain routes. And the driver was there prepared with his crew to take the trip for the day, which, like I said, was a complicated spot. And when the crew showed up, he was walking through their route for the day, and one of the people who was there happened to work at a construction site the day before and said, I was at that site yesterday and that isn't wide enough for the boat to get through. And our driver reviewed the permits. The permits definitely said that we were 20 feet wide and that we had permission to travel through. But the person who had worked the site before knew that it wasn't wide enough. So we did a drive over and saw that it wasn't actually wide enough. And so that started our big delay in Pennsylvania. After we were delayed there for a week, we started to see that it would be a much longer process. So we ended up being there, I think it was 7 weeks, and it got really confusing with paperwork delays, things being closed because of COVID. So it ended up that Governor Sununu called over to the state to help move things along, which we're incredibly thankful for. And he really got the process moving because we were stalled before that. We planned for the boat to arrive in January, but it actually didn't arrive until mid to late June. We were so thankful that it was here, but we definitely had some nerves leading up to when it arrived because it had been such a long process. We had to redo our original plan of keeping it stored in the harbor during the winter while the work would happen. So we had to find a new location to store it until it could get moved here in the off season. So when the boat finally rolled into town, we were all relieved, but feeling a little anxious as well. In typical Sunapee fashion, you have great neighbors in town always who are looking out for each other. And someone knew that the boat was arriving much later than expected and knew that the harbor wouldn't be a good spot for it to stay anymore. So they reached out and said, hey, I have a lot for you where you can store it until it's ready to move to the harbor, which was such a relief and such a good neighborly thing to do. It was really exciting for the town and for us when the boat did come into town finally. There were a lot of people lining the roads and waving, which was such a good feeling for us because we know that the Kearsarge has been important to people and we want people to feel as welcoming towards the new boat. So that was really a great feeling for all of us. After the boat was ready to move from its new location down to the harbor, we worked with the same marine movers we had in the past. And the town has been incredibly helpful, meaning the road agent, the town manager, the police, the fire department, they were all very willing to work and help make us happen. And when it came to the day of the moving, the fire department was here to help with directing traffic, along with the police and just anyone who could come by. We actually had a person in town who works for the electric company who took the day off work to come and make sure there weren't any issues with electric wires, just to be a good neighbor. And we keep being reminded of how great our town is because everyone has been quick to jump in and help when we need help or when something seems like it's going to be hard for us to figure out. Backing out of the parking lot went really smoothly, as did the transport down the road. We had the big turn onto Route 11, which went well. The turn from Route 11 onto Main Street was a little squirrelier. He did about a 200-point turn, but he made it work, and there was another trucker who happened to stop and watch the progress, and he was equally impressed by his maneuverability skills. But after we had that really complicated turn at the bottom of the hill, we creeped up the hill, up Main Street, past the livery and the LSPA building, and came down into the harbor, and it was such a relief. So when we made the move to the harbor, it was a little less fanfare, which was good, because I know that the driver was feeling really excited and anxious to get the project finished. But the boat came through the roads just as expected, no issues, backed right into the parking lot, and it was set until we're ready to launch her in a few weeks. We had a lot of people question if we were going to be able to make the route, because obviously we have small New England roads in our town, we have electric wires, so we were feeling a little nervous about it, but we trusted our movers. They had done the research, they had walked through the routes with the police, and it was neat because there were a lot of people we weren't expecting to come and help us celebrate it land in the harbor who were here. Some unexpected employees, former employees, just curious townspeople. It was nice. So now that the boat is here in Sunapee, we have a lot of great things happening and the progress is moving really quickly. We have a bunch of fabricators who've been working hard to weld and make the second story deck. It will be a totally different boat when it's done. And also we've been working on adding to the bow to make it a little pointier and make it resemble the steamers that were on the lake. And we also added a curved section on the back to give it a little more character as well. But there's going to be a lot happening really quickly as the pieces start to come together and get moved in here. A lot of the work was done off-site, but now it's coming in. Our goal is to make the boat seem really similar in feel to the Kearsarge and the other steamers that used to cruise the lakes. So definitely mahogany wood on board and those nice wood tones. We want it to be really similar to the Kearsarge, but it is also a new boat. Although it looks a lot bigger out of the water, it's about 6 feet wider and probably 5 to 10 feet longer, depending on what the final is. But our goal is to make it look like the lake boats that were here in the steamer days. There's been a lot happening with the boat. Unfortunately, most of it's been things you can't see, like more watertight bulkheads on board or demo on board. But now we're starting to get into the parts that we can see, which we're really excited about. The bow reshaping's coming along. Pretty soon they'll start moving in the parts for the top deck that they can add on. And we'll actually be launching into the lake in just a few weeks. It doesn't look like it from now, but the pieces will start coming in soon to attach. And it looks like we'll be in the water by the beginning of May and start cruises by the end of May, assuming all goes according to plan.
Thank you to the Fentons and their efforts to keep this wonderful service available for our visitors and locals alike. When we return, we'll hear from Donna Mahair about this year's Newport Dancing with the Stars. Let's first take a break for a few words from the good-minded businesses that make our show possible.
Some say e-cigarettes aren't dangerous,
But science shows nicotine can harm teens' developing brains.
no matter how they're exposed.
Let's do an experiment to find out.
Here's a teen who won't be using e-cigarettes.
Now we need one willing to risk their brain development.
Care to volunteer your kid?
This program is supported by the Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel. Because of COVID's spike, the Newport Dancing with the Stars got postponed from January to April. Let's hear about the return of this great and fun local event. Hi, Donna.
Newport's Dancing with the Stars have been a staple in the Newport community for 12 to 14 years now. We took a couple of years off. And then, of course, we missed last year due to COVID. This year we have 6 adult contestants. We also have 3 teens from our local high school, which is amazing. All of our dance troupe comes from the Newport Ballroom. And there's also a ladies troupe that will be performing in the second half of the show this year, which is the first time we've done this. It'll run on the same format as it has for the past 12 years now. And each couple will perform. During intermission, everybody in the audience gets to vote. And sometimes we have 2 different winners, one on Friday night, one on Saturday night. It depends totally on the audience. We have judges, but they're more for comic relief than anything. But we enjoy their input very much. Steve Smith, as always, will be our MC. We are really, really looking forward to this year because we lost so much last year. Our stars and pros are practicing almost daily to get their performances up and running. And we partner with the Opera House. It helps with their fundraising. It also helps, it supports the Newport Area Chamber of Commerce. And it supports everything that we do in the community, be it our concerts on the Common, or it was just before Christmas, or any of the other events that we run in town. Stars this year are from the high school. We have Zeta Morris, we have Cameron Howard, and we have Bryce Ashley. Those are our 3 teens. Our stars this year are Amanda Merrigan, and she works both at the school and at Salt Hill. We have Jeannie Everett from Sugar River Bank, and we have Brandy Hurd from Universal Physical Therapy here on Main Street in Newport. Our 3 male stars are Buddy Howe. He's with Century 21 Realty. We have Brett Woolman. He is the Newport Police Chief. And our 3rd one is Aaron Cherry, and he works at Richard's School as, I believe, their phys ed teacher. So those are 6 adult stars. And we're quite excited because they were all very excited to join the cast. So it should prove to be a very, very wonderful show, and I hope everybody gets out to see it. The seating you can buy here at the Opera House, or you can buy online through the Opera House. So you can reserve your seats, so you don't have to show up at 6 and fight for a seat. You will have a seat. We have the full balcony. We have chairs on the main floor. So the event will take place full weekend, Friday and Saturday night. And you can get tickets by going on the Newport Opera House, or you can call Meg and her staff, and they will gladly get you seats for the event, and I hope everybody shows up.
Thanks, Donna. You can still get your tickets on the Newport Opera House website. When we come back, we'll be closing the show looking at a unique artist and motivational speaker, Richard Haynes. But now let's acknowledge a few of our community-minded businesses that, in spite of COVID, are still here serving you.
Even though our daily lives are different, one fact remains unchanged. Blood is needed every day by patients facing a range of serious illnesses. If you're healthy, please schedule an appointment to donate by visiting redcrossblood.org.
This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
Welcome back to our show. The Center for the Arts has a show hanging at the Colby-Sawyer College Gallery. Jean Connolly will introduce us to this unique artist who is much more. Hi, Jean.
Thanks, Abby. I think most people know that the Center for the Arts is dedicated to bringing the arts to our community and into our schools. We believe the arts are an essential part of a student's education. With so many cuts in programs these days, we believe it's our mission to keep the arts alive and to keep them in our schools and support our teachers and school administrators as they try to bring creative programs into their schools. We also provide scholarships for talented students in our region. We feel this is essential for them to be able to pursue their dreams. In the past 5 years, we've given over $30,000 in scholarships to dancers, singers, thespians, and artists and writers. We'd like to continue that tradition, and we will again this year. Applications are available on our website. If you would like to donate to this wonderful fund, the Scholarship Fund, or our Arts Education Fund, please contact us or look for information on our website. The CFA funds classroom teachers and school-wide programs each year. They're available to any teacher and any administrator in the Lake Sunapee region. Last year, we funded both live and virtual programs at both the Kearsarge Regional Schools and the Sunapee Schools. It was an interview with Wampanoag Chi Nulka, the COVID Memorial Flag Project, the Portsmouth Brass Quintet Concert, and a special program with Abenaki culture bearer Jesse Bruchak. This year, we're delighted to have funded the Labyrinth Program at the Kearsarge High School. This is being used with many departments across the curriculum in many different ways. It's initially an arts project that is being collaborated with many different teachers throughout the school. We are also very proud to be able to bring an inspirational and talented African-American artist, Richard Haynes. This is where we are today in the gallery hosting his exhibit. He is a wonderful storyteller, artist, photographer, and also the Director of Admissions of Diversity at the University of New Hampshire. He has much to tell, and we were so delighted that he came to our middle school to speak with the 8th grade students about his journey of being a professional, of becoming an artist, and being a storyteller, which brings cultural awareness and unity throughout his artwork. Mr. Haynes provided a wonderful program to these 8th grade students, talking about his journey of his artistic work and his professional life, and also gave them a lot of tips on how they can become successful in the future. This spring, we'll be bringing another program to the elementary schools called Youth Beats, and this is a percussion enrichment program which provides music, team building, and fitness. So we're looking forward to seeing that in May. We encourage the community to come see this incredible exhibit of Richard Haynes at the Davidow Center for Art and Design at Colby-Sawyer College, but we suggest that you call ahead because of COVID restrictions to be sure the gallery is open when you wish to arrive.
Thanks, Jean. Do visit the gallery and see Richard's work. Our next show will be the final week presented by the Lake Sunapee Region VNA and Hospice. We'll hear from Kathy Raymond, the development officer here at the VNA, about what it means to be a nonprofit and why philanthropy is so important to their mission. Carrie Rochford-Haig will tell us about the Stepping Up to End Violence fundraising road race. Charles Glidewell from the First Baptist Church in New London will have an Easter message for us. And we'll close the show with Catherine Nevins telling us about the Spring into Warner happenings. Our Game of the Week plays at 12 noon and 5:30 p.m. on Sunday and Monday on YCN. This week we replay the football matchup between Brattleboro and Hartford. Watch any of our games on demand anytime at ycnnow.com. Check out our new home on the new region-wide cable channel being hosted by NCTV in Newport and programmed throughout the Kearsarge Lake Sunapee region. YCN will continue to provide regional public affairs, programming, sports, and our Yankee Chronicle. I'm Abby Peel. Join me again next week as we meet right back here at the Renaissance Shoppe one last time for another Yankee Chronicle.